to get my back blown out in peace. You think I got time to talk about a divorce that's a year old?
The internet just delivered a blow Iman Shumpert never saw coming. Photos of Teyana Taylor wrapped in Aaron's arms, kissing and smiling like they'd been together forever, went viral in minutes. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't private. It was loud, public, and full of meaning. The world watched as the photos spread across every platform: Twitter, Instagram, blogs, gossip pages. And behind the scenes, Iman's heart was breaking in silence. A close source said he was weeping like his chest couldn't hold the pain. He wasn't just sad. He was shattered. And now, fans everywhere are asking, how much more can one man take before he breaks completely? It all started with what looked like a simple story post. Aaron uploaded a photo to his Instagram, just a regular scroll-through moment, until people saw who was with him. Teyana. She was leaning into him, arms wrapped around his neck, her face glowing with joy. His hand was holding her close, their lips almost touching. That alone would have been enough to stir up buzz. But then came more photos, ones that left no doubt. Her hand on his chest, their eyes locked, their bodies pressed together like they had nothing to hide. And they didn't. The message was clear. They were together. They were public. And they were done keeping it quiet. But what they didn't expect was how deeply it would hit someone who once called her his whole world. Iman didn't speak. He didn't post. But people close to him say the silence was louder than anything. When he saw the photos, he reportedly locked himself in his room and didn't come out for hours. One friend said he got a text from Iman that read, "This is worse than any loss I've ever taken." That hit hard. Not because of the words themselves, but because Iman has faced losses before. On the court, in his career, in life. But this one felt different. More personal. More painful. A punch to the soul. Hours later, he was spotted outside his usual gym. No smile. No swagger. Just red, swollen eyes, and a face that looked like it hadn't slept in days. One bystander said, he wasn't crying. It looked like the pain was bleeding out of him. That's how the phrase "weeping blood" started trending. Not literally, but emotionally. That deep kind of grief that shows up in silence and breathless stares. What made it worse wasn't just the photos. It was the timing. Just weeks before, Iman had sat down for an interview where he talked about co-parenting with Teyana. He spoke calmly, even respectfully. He said, "I'll always have love for her. That's the mother of my child." He talked about wanting peace, about protecting the legacy they built together. There was still a quiet hope in his voice, like maybe, somewhere down the line, things could heal. So when these photos dropped, it didn't feel like just another celebrity post. It felt like a funeral for a future he still believed in. And the fact that it happened just days before Father's Day weekend? That's what fans called cold. Ice cold. Social media exploded the moment the photos hit the timeline. Posts flew out like wildfire. One user tweeted, "No man deserves to be humiliated like this. Not after all he gave." Another wrote, "It's not the relationship, it's the disrespect. That public display was unnecessary." People didn't hold back. Hashtags like #PoorIman, #WeepingBlood, and #TeyanaCold shot to the top of trending lists. Even celebrities started weighing in, some subtle, others direct. Some fans defended Teyana, saying she has every right to live her life, to move on, to find happiness. But the overwhelming reaction leaned the other way. They weren't mad that she was in love. They were upset by how it was revealed, how public it was, how raw the timing felt. And while the internet screamed, Teyana and Aaron stayed quiet. Almost too quiet. No statement. No explanation. No response to the storm they caused. Aaron reposted one of the now viral photos with the caption, "Unbothered. Finally free." A bold line that only made things worse. Teyana posted a single black heart emoji on her story. No words. No captions. Just silence and a symbol. Fans were split. Some thought the silence was power. Others thought it was proof they didn't care who got hurt. Insiders whispered that Teyana didn't mean to break Iman's heart, but she's done waiting for peace. That line hit fans hard, because if that's true, what does peace even mean now? Theories started spinning almost instantly. The internet doesn't wait, especially when it comes to stories that already have tension simmering beneath the surface. As soon as the photos surfaced, Teyana and Aaron, close, connected, unmistakably together, people began crafting explanations, each one more layered than the last. Some fans insisted Aaron had pressured Teyana into going public, that he was tired of the whispers, the speculation, the rumored title. They said he wanted clarity, ownership, to be seen as the man she had chosen, undeniably, unapologetically, that this wasn't just about love anymore, it was about image, about winning the narrative. Others believed the timing was too specific to be random. They speculated it was a strategic move, possibly orchestrated to send a very clear message to Iman. It's over. There's no going back. This was closure, served not through conversation or private healing, but through images curated for public consumption. A statement that didn't require captions. For many fans, the message wasn't just received, it landed like a blow. Not just because of what it showed, but because of what it erased. The history, the years, the family they built. Seeing it replaced in pictures, without warning, felt cold to some. Brutal, even. And then there were those who turned their attention to Iman himself. A few said this was the final straw. That after everything, this would be the moment he pulled back entirely. That he would now go completely silent. No more subtle posts, no more public outings that hint at hope. Just stillness. Just presence when absolutely required, mostly for co-parenting responsibilities. The emotional toll, fans said, was too deep now. The heartbreak too public. One rumor even began to circulate that Iman's team had been approached by a major outlet about doing a sit-down interview. Not a flashy, polished PR move, but a real, raw conversation. A tell-all where Iman could finally share what happened, his perspective on the breakup, the new relationship, the photos, all of it. It's just a rumor for now. No one's confirmed anything. But fans are hoping. Not for drama, but for clarity. For a glimpse into what has been holding in, silently, for months. Because right now, all anyone sees is a man grieving in silence. A man who hasn't defended himself. Who hasn't retaliated. Who hasn't tried to smear anyone's name or correct the record. He's just hurting. And doing it quietly. In a world that demands noise, his silence has said more than any live video ever could. But this moment, this messy, painful unraveling, was never just about celebrity gossip. It wasn't just another scandal to scroll past. It became something heavier. Something more universal. For many people watching, it became a mirror. A reflection of how love can fall apart in the most painful ways. Of how quickly intimacy can be stripped down to spectacle. When two people once deeply in love become strangers in a storyline that everyone thinks they are allowed to rewrite. Dignity gets lost. Privacy becomes a myth. And the heartbreak becomes a headline. Iman tried to move forward with grace. That much was clear. He didn't attack Teyana. Didn't throw shade at Aaron. Didn't hint at bitterness or betrayal. He kept his head down. Focused on his daughter. Focused on healing, or at least surviving the transition. There were no cryptic stories, no passive-aggressive tweets, no messy lives. Just calm. Just respect. But those photos? They broke something in him. Something quiet and sacred. Because seeing the woman you once dreamed of forever with, someone who was your home, your person, your partner, now wrapped in the arms of another man. And not in private, but posted for the world to see, isn't something you recover from overnight. It's a different kind of pain. One that doesn't scream. One that doesn't rage. It just sits inside your chest, heavy and still. It follows you into sleep, into silence, into every room you walk into alone. And at the heart of all of this, a little girl. Their daughter. A child now caught between two realities. Between a father who is quietly grieving and a mother who seems to be moving forward. Between households that may feel increasingly different, increasingly distant. It's easy for fans to debate who's right, who's wrong, who handled things better. But none of that noise matters to the person who matters most. The child. Because what she needs isn't a side to pick or narrative to believe in. What she needs is peace. Consistency. Love that doesn't come with tension. A world that isn't full of whispers and headlines and confusion. That's what breaks people the most. Not just the end of a love story, but the way its fallout spills into spaces it doesn't belong. The way a child loses the stability of two parents who once smiled in the same room. The way innocence is slowly chipped away when grown-up problems become public debate. That's the real heartbreak. Watching something private become content. Watching love dissolve in the glare of public opinion. This story isn't over. Not even close. Maybe Iman will speak. Maybe he'll sit down one day and let the truth come out, not with bitterness but with honesty. Maybe Teyana will explain her side, how she felt, what she needed, why things happened the way they did. Or maybe none of that will happen. Maybe we'll just be left with images, and silences, and assumptions. Maybe the only clarity we'll ever get is in the quiet moments after the noise fades. But until then, the world keeps watching. People keep asking. Fans keep hoping, not for reconciliation necessarily, but for healing. For peace. Even if it only comes in pieces. Because behind every viral post, behind every trending photo, there are real people. With real histories. Real pain. Real love that once existed and now exists only in fragments. And sometimes, when the pictures disappear, when the public loses interest, the pain stays behind. Lingering in memories. In routines. In the small things no one else can see. Just like Iman did. Quietly. Still loving. Still hurting. Still human. If you were Iman, how would you react to those photos? Would you speak out? Or keep suffering in silence? Would you forgive? Or finally let go completely? Did Teyana cross a line? Or is she just living her truth, even if it hurts someone else? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about what real heartbreak feels like, and how we carry it when the whole world is watching. Hit that like button if you believe some love stories deserve respect, even when they end. And make sure you subscribe, because in stories like this, the silence speaks louder than anything else. And what comes next might be even louder than the pain we just witnessed.